Howdy everyone, Pocho here with an Age of Magic video, and in today's video we're doing the Hero Spotlight for Katar, the melee damager of the Dragonkin faction. So we'll jump into it, look over his stats, look over his abilities, what the animations look like, and how this hero can potentially be used in the game if you choose to go for him. So let's get into it. So Katar's stats come in at 1.9 million hit points, speed 214, armor 19k, magic damage resistance 19k, basic damage 167k, critical hit chance 33%, and critical damage 283k. So pretty average stats along the board. Nothing really stands out, and if we go over the in-depth stats, you can pause the video wherever you want if you want to look at anything in particular. If not, so be it. So we'll jump into the arena. We'll look at his moveset, what he's capable of, and is he going to be useful or not. Katar's basic attack is called Katar Slashes. It triggers the melee damager class mark. Damages one target as a 16% chance per Dragonkin ally to perform an extra strike on the same enemy. So in terms of basic attacks, it's quite underwhelming. We have seen many heroes come out recently that their basic attacks are almost like abilities themselves. This one just does a bit of damage. So we'll go ahead and look at the animation. We're going to go ahead and use it on the enemy Roynar here, because why not? Okay, pretty cool. Just double jabs the enemy. Does meh damage unless it gets a crit, of course, and it might do some okay damage. And then if you get the extra strike, then you might be okay. But like I said, as far as the basic attack goes, it's pretty average. Nothing super special about it at all. Moving on to Katar's first special, we have Steel Whirlwind. Triggers the melee damager class mark and applies the rogue mark, which potentially has the ability to be useful when the rogue Dragonkin comes out. The reason for that is because a lot of advertisement has gone into showing those two characters together. We don't know anything about the Dragonkin rogue at the moment, but they are connected by lore. They seem pretty close, so maybe they're setting that up for a pretty decent rogue effect. Mark effect there, which is good because we want marks back, to be honest. The ability itself, though, Steel Whirlwind, strikes one target 3 times in a row. If Dexa, that's going to be the rogue, I believe, is in the party, then the enemy can't dodge the next 2 attacks. So essentially, he will be able to hit all 3 strikes without the enemy dodging any one of them, from what I understand. I don't think it will mean that he will do his 3 attacks and then the next 2 attacks will be dodged. I'm pretty sure having her on the party is just going to make this ability an undodgeable attack. So its ability cooldown of 4, and the rogue mark, when triggered, the next attack on the mark target by a rogue will be a critical hit. So not necessarily locked to Dexa. You could use any rogue, but I don't think you're going to get anywhere near the beneficial effects of having a different rogue on the team. Who knows? But we'll go ahead and look at the animation now. We're going to go ahead and use it on Stealthy this time. Steel Whirlwind. Okay, so that's half HP done in a single ability. That's pretty decent. I believe there was 1 crit in there. I am uncertain. I wasn't paying attention to the numbers. But yeah, it's a pretty decent damaging ability. So as of yet, he's just a glass cannon. When the rogue is on the team, I can see a lot more damage going into him, which is good. I think paired with Fire might be pretty decent. So Steel Whirlwind, as though it doesn't really offer much to the team, it's just a glass cannon ability. Moving on to Katar's second special ability, we have Gladiator's Crime. Triggers the melee damager class mark. Increases all ally speed by 25% for 2 turns. Pretty decent. Speed increase, always good. If Karana or Dexa is in the party, then Katar casts a cover buff on them. Katar responds with a counter attack on the next 3 attacks that enemies do against Karana or Dexa. So it's a new buff coming into the game. Cover. If those 2 characters are struck, then Katar will perform a support attack, or a counter attack, against the enemy that struck those characters. So you could potentially get some pretty decent damage out there, and since Karana is a healer, she's most likely going to be the target. So it's a lot of counter damage Katar could be getting out. The last part of the ability has a 20% chance per Dragonkin ally for enemies to be unable to get bonus initiative for 2 turns, which is pretty good. We know that there are a lot of characters in the game that give bonus to initiative. Restricting that is always good. You do not want the enemy getting casts off when they don't necessarily need to be. If you can limit them and get your abilities out first, it's always going to put you at an advantage. It comes with a 5-turn cooldown, so kind of long, but for what it does, I think it's pretty decent. Out of all his moves, this one definitely offers the most to the team. He gives you speed initiative, a lot of damage, and reduction to initiative. So yeah, we'll go ahead and look at this ability in action now. Yep, so pretty cool. And as you can see, they struck Karana. So is he going to... Yeah, there he goes. He's off. He's already doing his thing. So pretty good. I wish his damage was a little bit higher though. But his damage can increase. And that is the next part of his kit. So we'll move on to his passive now and see what that is capable of. So here we are with Katar's passive, Dragon Fury. Increases critical damage by Dragonkin allies by 40%, which is a pretty decent damage buff to critical strikes. Katar's damage increases proportionately to Dex's missing HP to a maximum of double in the event she dies. So if his rogue partner dies, his damage is increased by 2 turns. So with the increased crit damage and the increased damage overall, this character has the potential to do a fair bit of damage. Next part of his passive. Katar's chance of causing critical damage increases proportionately to Karana's missing HP, up to 100% in the event of her death. So you can also get this character to a 100% crit rate. Has a 100% chance at the start of his turn to reduce Karana's and Dex's special ability cooldown by 1 turn. So the passive is really what cements him as a fairly decent character, I think. He has the potential to be the hardest hitting character in the game under the right circumstances. I'm talking Dex is dead, Karana's dead, and this character is just going to be absolutely whipping people. I mean, this is going to be back when they're building the pyramids type of whipping. There is no break. He will tear through everything. Not to mention that Karana doesn't even need to die. Her HP, the lower it gets, every time she's struck, or what's the other character's name? Katar, Dexter. He can give them the cover buff, so he can be getting out free damage, and the more they lose HP, the more he's hitting them back, the more damage he's doing. He is a lethal character, or has the potential to be. This is all theory, mind you. It hasn't been tested. How it all plays out in an actual battle could be very, very different. But considering the effort they've put into making this character synergize with, I keep forgetting her name, Dexa, she might possibly be the next character released into the game, giving you a full Dragonkin team. And that might be where they start to shine, especially with Karana. Not a great healer. Not the worst, though. But having her ability cooldown reduced by 1 every time he gets a turn, she's going to be able to pump out a lot of heals. Never mind, she has the Resurrect as well. So it's going to be a very interesting team, the Dragonkin. There is potential there. Whether it all works in Arena, though, is completely different. I don't think this team is built for tournaments. I think this is more of just a PvP type team. Might be able to get some pretty decent use out of it through TOH and raids as well. And Arena, just not tournament. I feel like the use of this team comes from you losing your healer and your rogue, and this boy pumping out big numbers. I'll quickly set up the battle. So Karana's dead, and we'll see what type of damage he can do. So with Karana dead, Katar's critical strike chance should be at 100%. With the increased 40% to critical damage, we will now see what type of damage he can whip out on the enemy stealthy. When we used his first special ability before, we were able to get stealthy down to half HP. We may be able to kill her. I'm not sure. We will find out. So we're going to go ahead and use his ability. Okay, so the last strike didn't critically strike. good. Go on to report it to Playcott. But if that ability did strike on that last hit, she would be so close to dying. Stealthy, I can't see her having more than 5% HP. It would do a tremendous amount of damage. It did do a tremendous amount of damage. It nearly took her out. So if you mix that with the other buffs from characters, he could potentially one-shot characters. In saying that, it's very situational. You need to get him set up in that situation. I'm talking Karana dead and Dexar also dead. That's when you get the most out of him. So if you can get him into that situation, good luck. You're gonna have a fun time. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I will answer it to the best of my ability. And whether you're on the world, until next time, please take care of yourself.